I did my best to notice when the call came down the line, up to the platform of surrender. I was brought, but I was kind. And sometimes I get nervous when I see an open door. Close your eyes, clear your heart. You gotta cut the cord. Are we human or are we dancer? The sign is vital. My hands are cold, everybody. And I'm on my knees looking for the answer. Are we human or are we dancer? It was worth a shot. It was always going to be a risk. Are we human or are we dancer? Yes, I think we are. We all have our coping mechanisms to get through a Regent term. Copious cups of coffee, library lockdown, library Pac-Man. And in the case of myself and a few friends, a little ritual that we used to do every time we finished reading a book. We would, with great ceremony, put it down on the ground and dance on top of it. Just to illustrate that we were on top of our education. So, thank you, Alan and Springstead. Seriously, it's been a wild ride. But here's my philosophy. Who's participating now, Dr. Boersma? Why do we have these little rituals? I think the answer is simple. I think it is because we're not machines. We are human beings. And what we have been doing has been difficult, and it has been long, and there have been days when it has felt like it was never going to end. And we have needed these punctuations along the journey to help us remember who we are, help us to remember our humanness. But it did end. And tonight, we participate in another ritual, a ritual designed to show honor and to recognize accomplishment, and rightly so, because what we have done has been good, and we have done it well. And tonight we celebrate it. But if I look back over the 3 years that I've been at Regent, I will remember many times when I didn't feel like the end was coming. Days when I just wanted to be up outside in the sunshine like regular people, but I was stuck on a paper. Days when I wished I could be snowboarding, but who's got the time and who's got the money? And perhaps if you're at all like me in those moments, you may have subconsciously been asking yourself the question of, who am I? Am I a human or am I a grad student? Am I a person or am I a letter grade? Am I just a reader, a thinker? Am I the comments in red? Am I a GPA? Who am I, and when will I get to be who I am? And tonight, as we celebrate that we have finished this degree, you'd think that those questions would have been answered. But I know in my case they're not. In fact, they've intensified. Those questions have been theory until now, and now they're practical questions. Where do I go from here? Who am I? Where do I fit? Who's buying what I'm selling? Am I selling anything? Am I a fake? Have I actually learned anything here? How am I going to translate this experience into a job? The reading is done. It's time to dance, but the music that I've been expecting isn't playing on the dance floors I've been imagining. So who am I? And how do I dance to that music? My amazing wife and the incredible mother of my 2 children has had both of those children while we have been here in this season at Regent. And as such, it's been a sort of a parallel storyline. I have had a pregnant wife for much of my education. And this theme of gestation and pregnancy and birth has weaved its way into our experience here at Regent. And as such, I think it is a fitting metaphor of a Regent degree. I think of my time at Regent as a pregnancy. And in that sense, then tonight would be like the birth at the end of it, or perhaps those moments after the birth, those days directly following where the pain is forgotten and you have something to show for what you've been through. But as the call comes down the line this evening and as we step up to this platform of victory and surrender, who are we? Are we mother or are we child? Because, we did the work. It was our ankles that got swollen from sitting in the library for too long. It's our minds that have turned to mush from too much reading. And we struggled through the exhaustion of the first and third trimester with a bit of a summer break in between. We finally got through comps and we gave birth to something, and people actually arrived for our IPAT presentation. And we handed in our thesis, perhaps 2 weeks overdue and very possibly with a C-section. And tonight we have something to show for what has been birthed because of what we've done. But we are not only worker, we are worked upon. We are worked within. In the most substantial ways, in the most meaningful terms, it is us. It is you and me that are the result of this pregnancy. They say at Convocation that all you need to worry about is shoes and hair, the bits that stick out. So tonight I have some brand new shoes and I've given myself a haircut. And I'm wearing a pair of pants that my dad used to own and a shirt that I've had for 9 years. But that's okay because my gown will cover over my wardrobe insufficiencies. And I will look the part. But if tonight is like a birth, or those moments after the birth, then I think it is of the utmost importance that we realize that we are not being born into these gowns, but out of them. Your gowns are not what you have to offer. That's not what we're selling. You are what you have to offer. And education is a little bit like a gown. It can cover over our insecurities. It can hide our character flaws if we refuse to be born from it. But what do we have to show from these 2 or 3 or 5 years at Regent? What do we have to show? The knowledge we got or who we became? And in the dance that's coming, I am sure that there will be times when I won't know the music or I will misjudge the beat. And in those moments, I will be tempted to hide behind and hide within this education, to think that that is what I have to offer to the world, that that's where my value comes from. And when my insecurities raise themselves in the new context that I'm in, when I can't communicate these things that we have talked about so gloriously in a language no one else understands. In times like that, I think I'm going to be tempted to think in terms of my value being what I know and what I've learned. And when I'm feeling insecure, when I don't yet have relationships strong enough to hold me, there is a chance that I will use language and vocabulary designed to show that I know more than you, which means you're wrong and I'm right. I think I'm going to be tempted to do that, and I think you are too. But what do we have to show for the time that we have been at Regent? Our gowns or ourselves? My eldest son, Clayton, is a dancer. He can't not dance. If there is a beat in the music, he will dance. For him, quite literally, to be a human is to be a dancer. Now, the irony in the song that we, or I, started with is that they have dichotomized these two categories in the paradigm of the song. And they're saying, are we human or are we dancer? Because in the model of what it means to be a human, according to that, it means to be an individual, to be set apart, to be unique, to be disconnected. And the model of the dancer is the marionette puppet, connected via strings to a puppeteer that has a dance choreographed out for us already, a dance that is dictated for us, and we must just follow suit. And they're saying, no, we're not dancers, we are humans, cut the cord. And there is a brave wisdom partly to that, but I think ultimately it falls flat. I think ultimately it is a left brain only arrogance, a misunderstanding of this relational dynamic that we live in, what it means to be a creature in the world. And I think the song fails us. I think perhaps the South African idea of Ubuntu is better. That through you I am, and through me you are. Yes, we are particular. Yes, we are individual. Yes, we have unique integrity of value and identity. But those things are bestowed through community. They are formed in community, and they are held in trust. Who we are, who you are, and who I am is formed in the spaces between. If we desert the dance will suffer. And so will we. To be human is to be a dancer. I think one of the most important things that I've learned from my time at Regent, and it was a slow learning, was that I will not be birthed from this experience to change the world, but to take my place within it and to be a part of its flourishing. And yes, to sometimes critique the music. And yes, to sometimes ask questions about the steps. And to heal and to innovate, yes, but from the inside. Who are we, and what do we have to offer? We are human beings, made in the image of God and being conformed into the likeness of his Son because of the great priestly work that he did for us. Unless tonight we forget that a birth comes at the end of a pregnancy, at the end of a gestation, not at the end of development, not at the end of growth and maturity. I want to remind my graduating class this evening of what you already know. We go from here naked, flawed, formed, but still being formed by the faithfulness of God and others and ourselves. We go to take our place in the marketplace, to play our part in culture and to contribute to it, to be involved in our churches, to bring life and shalom to our communities. Yes, we may go on to become dance instructors and judges, but never at the expense of first and always being a dancer. What we have to give to the world is the fact that we are humans. And not because Regent is a patch to cover over our flaws, and not because our time at Regent has healed them. Are we human or are we dancer? Yes. Yes, we are.